I paid $48,000 for my daughter's wedding, only for her to choose her stepdad to walk her down the aisle and tell him, "You're the best father I could ask for." So I stood up, walked out, and cut her off from everything. She chased me outside screaming, "You're just jealous because mom finally found someone good." What happened after that stunned everyone. Hello Reddit I+ here. My name is Ronan Hale, and I'm 58 years old. If you'd asked me a year ago what my proudest accomplishment was, I would have said my daughter. Not the businesses I'd built, not the properties I'd bought, not the awards people hung on walls to feel important. Just her. Funny how quickly pride can rot into something unrecognizable. The wedding I paid for, the moment I lost my daughter, Mira, is 26. She's always been bright, beautiful, clever, charismatic, but easily swayed by anyone who told her what she wanted to hear. I used to think that was just youth, something she'd outgrow. I was wrong. I paid $48,000 for her wedding. Every invoice, every vendor, every late-night phone call with planners who seemed allergic to efficiency. I handled all of it. Her mother, Tara, remarried 9 years ago to a man named Jared, a walking cologne advertisement with perfectly trimmed facial hair and the emotional depth of a puddle. He'd been in Mira's life since she was 17, not long enough to earn anything, but long enough to pretend he had. A week before the wedding, during rehearsal dinner, Mira told me gently, too gently, that she'd decided she wanted Jared to walk her down the aisle, not me. Before I could react, she added, "He's always been the father I needed." I didn't say a word, just nodded, placed $32 tip money on the table, and walked out of the restaurant. No one followed me. That night, Tara texted, "So you're really going to ruin your daughter's day because of your ego? Grow up." Blocked. Instantly. I sat alone on my porch, listening to the Arizona night buzz with heat, and felt something inside me freeze, not break, not shatter, just freeze, like ice under too much weight. June in Sedona is hot enough to boil anger, but the scenery makes it hard to care. Mira chose a luxury resort with glowing red cliffs and sandstone walls that looked painted by otherworldly hands. I walked in wearing my tux, performing the role of supportive father so well that guests actually complimented my composure. My friend Damon came as my +1. He pulled me aside. "You sure you want to be here, man?" "I'm here for her," I said. "You've been saying that for half her life," he replied. He wasn't wrong. When the ceremony started, I sat alone in the front row. Across the aisle, Tara and Jared sat together like a golden couple in a commercial for pretentious perfumes. Then I saw Mira. Radiant, overwhelming, glowing with that naive joy people have when the world hasn't hit them yet. And on her arm, smug, polished, preening, was Jared. She had promised a compromise weeks before, a shared moment, a private acknowledgement, anything, but she changed her mind, or she never meant it. They didn't look at me once. Not a glance, not even a flicker of recognition that I existed. I sat there and watched a man who contributed nothing beyond recycled motivational quotes and Instagram wellness tips walk my daughter, my only daughter, down an aisle I paid for, and I felt myself going numb. At the reception, Mira stood with a microphone, champagne in hand, the desert sun turning her veil gold. She thanked her husband. She thanked his family. She thanked her friends. Then she turned to Jared. "I need to give a special thanks to the man who taught me unconditional love, the man who showed me what a real father is. I'm the woman I am today because of you." She raised her glass. "To the best father I could ever ask for." The room erupted. People clapped. Some even stood. Jared actually dabbed his eyes like he was performing grief in a school play. Tara looked like she'd just witnessed a miracle. And me? I became invisible. Something inside me didn't explode. It simply stopped working. I stood, walked out calmly, got into my car, and drove away. No one noticed. No one followed. No one cared. 20 miles away, sitting in the shade of a gas station sign, I made my first call. "Damon," I said, "I need you to pull every document we have on Mira's employment. She's off the payroll by Monday." "You're serious?" "More than I've ever been about anything." Then I called my accountant, then my lawyer, then my real estate agent. By the time the reception was cleaning up spilled champagne, I was already undoing 15 years of generosity. Monday morning, her company email, revoked at 6 a.m. corporate credit card, canceled at 7 a.m. building access, gone by 7:03 a.m., the luxury electric sedan she paid for with her ideas, the dealer collected it from her apartment at 8 a.m., leaving a polite note. Her job, outreach coordinator, was a thinly disguised allowance. She worked maybe 8 hours a week, usually lunches, sometimes research trips that coincidentally took her to beaches. That role was dissolved before my morning coffee finished brewing. The condo I bought her, still in my name. She'd forgotten to finish the paperwork. Listed by noon. The will. By 2 p.m., my estate documents were rewritten. My shares and assets will now fund a program for single fathers starting businesses. Not a dime goes to Mira. By 4 p.m., my phone had enough missed calls to qualify as harassment. 27 from Mira, several from Tara, 2 from Jared. I ignored them. Her texts shifted from confusion to fear to fury. My card isn't working. Did the system crash? Why was my car taken? Are you kidding me right now? Call me back. I didn't. At the office, people noticed the disappearance instantly. My operations manager, Ria, approached quietly. For what it's worth, she said, everyone knew that position was a gift. She made more than employees who've been here 10 years. She barely showed up. Then the official story, I told her, is that the position was eliminated. Nothing more. Ria nodded, though she clearly wanted to say more. At 5:07 p.m., Mira stormed into my office, red-faced, shaking with disbelief. You fired me? You took my car? You canceled everything? You no longer work here, I said calmly. Former employees don't keep company benefits. You're doing this because I didn't let you walk me down the aisle? That's insane. No, I said. I'm doing this because you chose to erase me, and actions have consequences. You're being petty. Petty, I replied. Would have been sabotaging the wedding. Mature is letting you live with the family you publicly chose. You made it clear who your father is now. Her voice cracked. Trent and I can't afford rent without my income. That, I said, sounds like a Jared problem. She stared at me like she didn't recognize me. You're really doing this? I really am. When Mira walked out of my office that evening, slamming the door hard enough to make the glass rattle, I didn't feel triumph. I didn't feel regret. I felt nothing. Nothing is dangerous. Nothing means the bridge isn't burning. It's already ash. I drove home through the crimson desert dusk, ignoring the non-stop vibration of my phone. When I finally set it face down on the kitchen counter, the buzzing became almost comical. 23 missed calls from Mira, 9 from Tara, 3 from numbers I didn't know. Then they switched to messages. Mira, Daddy please, we need to talk. Mira, I'm sorry, okay? Can we just fix this? Mira, I didn't mean what I said at the wedding. Mira, I need my car. Mira, answer me. I didn't reply. Not out of cruelty, just vacancy. A hollow where years of unconditional effort used to be. At 7:14 p.m. someone started pounding on my door. Not knocking, pounding. I opened it and found Tara standing there, hair frazzled, eyeliner smudged from either crying or the heat. Probably both. She shoved her phone in my face. What is this? She demanded. You cut her off? Completely? Yes. Over a walk down the aisle? I stepped outside, closed the door behind me, and leaned on the railing. This isn't about the aisle, I said. It's about erasure. You both made sure I didn't exist, Tara huffed. Oh, stop being dramatic. I smiled at that, an exhausted, humorless smile. You demanded I grow up once, I said. Consider this my graduation. You're punishing her. She snapped. She chose her father, I replied. She chose someone who showed up, Tara hissed. That one actually made me blink. Showed up? I repeated. I paid for her school. I paid for her car, her condo, her job, her wedding. I showed up every time you asked. That's not the same, she shot back. You gave money. Jared gave love. There it was. The sentence that revealed everything. I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw a woman who never once noticed the sacrifices because she believed emotional validation mattered more than consistency. Go home, Tara, I said quietly. Go tell your husband that fatherhood can be purchased with compliments and let him enjoy the return policy. She muttered something under her breath, but I was already walking back into the house, closing the door behind me. I locked it, for the first time ever. Jared sends his message. An hour later, my phone buzzed again. One final text from a number I didn't know. Unknown. This is Jared. Whatever issues you have with Mira or her mother, leave me out. We both know this is really about you failing as a dad. I stared at it long enough to memorize the tone. Smug, performative, cowardly. I deleted it without responding. Some people don't deserve energy, not even in anger. The meeting request. The next morning I arrived at the office early. Stillness is easiest before sunrise, before gossip wakes up. My assistant Lena gave me a nervous look. Sir, your daughter is here. She's been waiting since 6. Of course she had. I nodded and walked to my office. Mira stood when I opened the door, her expression a blend of outrage and desperation. Dad, she said, voice trembling, we need to talk. I sat behind my desk, folded my hands, and waited. She took that as permission to unleash everything at once. Mira tries guilt. You embarrassed me, she started. Everyone knows what you did. My husband's parents think you're unstable. I raised a brow. That bothers you? Yes, she cried. This is humiliating. For who? For me. She didn't even hear herself. I leaned back. What do you want, Mira? She swallowed. I want my job back. My car, my keys, my accounts. I want things to go back to normal. Normal. Normal, where I gave and she took. Normal, where I funded her lifestyle, while she pretended someone else raised her. No, I said simply. Her mouth fell open. You can't just abandon me. The irony almost made me laugh. You abandoned me first, I said. Publicly, proudly. That's not true. You erased me in front of 100 people, I said, and applauded the man who replaced me. That was your choice, and I'm letting you live with it. Mira tries anger. Her eyes hardened. You're pathetic, she spat. You're doing all of this just to hurt me. You'll regret this, I swear you will. I nodded. Maybe. But I'd rather regret boundaries than regret raising a child who learned she could treat me like scenery. You're heartless, she whispered. No, I said. Heartless would be cutting you off years ago when I first realized you didn't appreciate anything I did. She didn't have a comeback for that. Mira tries tears. When anger didn't work, she crumbled into sobs. What am I supposed to do? She cried. We can't pay rent. We have plans. We were saving for a honeymoon. This is what independence looks like, I said. Why are you being so cruel? I'm not being cruel. I'm being done. She stared at me through tears. You're really not giving anything back? Nothing? Not even a chance? I gave you 26 years of chances. I said quietly. You used the last one at your wedding. The end of the conversation. She stood there a long time, breathing hard, eyes red. Then, in the smallest voice I'd heard from her since she was little, she whispered, Is this really it? Yes, I said. She walked out slowly, like someone leaving a funeral. She didn't say goodbye. When the door closed, I exhaled a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding for years. Relief, sadness, freedom, all tangled together. Moving on. Later that afternoon, Ria poked her head in. Everything okay? It will be, I said. And I meant it. For the first time in my life, I wasn't holding anything together. I wasn't financing someone else's happiness. I wasn't waiting for appreciation that would never come. I was simply choosing myself.